Chuck is here and Charles here, but Wayne's not here. He's actually, I think, with his daughter at a swim meet right now, so that's why he's not actually here. So what he said, what to answer the question, and I'm going to say the question again that we said in the beginning. What is the hindrances to revival? In other words, why can't revival happen in America? What's wrong with America? Why is it not happening? What are the issues? Here's what Wayne Giles of Lost and Found Agency says. He says, to me, and this is Wayne speaking, he says, to me, it's because of the division amongst the churches. Instead of being the hands and feet of Jesus, churches are more concerned with financials, status, politics, sexuality. We need to shift our focus back to God and being about His work and not our own. We need to be unified together, working as one body and one church, and that is the church God has called us to be. Again, that is Wayne Giles of Lost and Found Agency. So next up is my good friend. Let's see, who do I want to ask? I think I'm going to ask Chuck. Hey, Chuck, what is happening in America? Why is not revival happening? What's wrong?
Well, I can speak uh, from like my life perspective and the things that I have seen over my 52 turns around the sun. I'm gonna side with Wayne, and there is a lot of division on everything in this country. Men versus women, racial division, old versus young, Coke versus Pepsi. I mean, that was drilled into us throughout the greater part of the 80s, the cola wars. Woo! We can't agree on anything. Entire churches will split over the color of carpet in the sanctuary. And then, pride kind of settles in. We disagree, but that's not enough. We disagree, but I'm right, you're wrong. And it just goes further and further and further to where, if we can't agree on this, how can we agree to come together corporately as a believing and faith body on how worship is going to go, how we're going to structure our church? It's almost like a lot of these churches are like as strong as a house of cards. The wind changes direction and the whole thing falls apart. And I think really, coming out of that experience is kind of how we want our church, at Lost and Found Fellowship to be united on all things. Now, we're not going to agree. We surely aren't. But, even the Bible tells us how to live and how to conduct our affairs, in that realm when there is disagreement. Like some folks eat meat, some folks don't. Some folks celebrate this holiday or observe it. Some folks don't, don't poke fun at each other, don't, come for one another just because they do life a little differently than you. I mean, ultimately, it's unless it's like something that is overtly demonic, it's not a salvation issue. Hey, carry on, enjoy one another. And that's like the biggest things that I see. I mean, especially with this pride, like this self-centered worldview. You know, what you have to say is valuable. How do you feel? What do you think? What do you believe? And there's just been so much focus on that. Like it's almost as if we are conditioned to believe that we are the only person in this universe, and our word is the final word on anything, and we should be heard. And it's so much so that there are some people that say, this is who I am, and this is how you're going to refer to me. That's that's big for me as to why, I mean, if we can't agree on small things, how are we going to come together for revival? And that's what I love the most about what's happening with Freedom Fest. We had four nearly perfect strangers coming together at God's leading and talking this out, kicking these ideas around, and we are 15 days away from kickoff. And nearly everything is in place. I mean, there's some fine tuning going on, but that those are the big things that I see as far as hindrances to, and when you lay those things down, as you've seen in previous years with the big one, I believe in Kentucky, where folks just came and worshiped and loved on one another and prayed for and over each other and spoke life over one another. And that went on for how long? You know, that's what we aspire to and pray for, in our revival and in future endeavors with events like Freedom Fest.